If you wake up every morning feeling stiff and sore, you've likely been told it's just a normal part of getting older. But the truth is, 95% of joint pain is not caused by aging at all. In fact, thinking your body is just wearing out might be the very thing keeping you in pain. Take a look at Arthur. At 72, Arthur was an active guy who loved hiking with his grandkids. But slowly, his knees began to grind. Eventually, he couldn't even walk to his mailbox without a cane. His doctors told him his cartilage was gone and he needed a double knee replacement. He felt like his life was over. But here is the shocking twist. The problem wasn't his bones. It wasn't his age. And it wasn't even his bad knees. It was a hidden glue forming in his connective tissue, something most doctors never even check for. I'm Dr. Kumdi, and after 20 years of treating thousands of adults over 40, I've seen how this one mistake ruins more lives than actual injuries do. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to dissolve that glue with a simple 2-minute stretch you can do right in your living room. Stick with me until the end, because the most important part of this stretch is a tiny movement that surprises even the top surgeons. Before we start, I want to hear from you. How old are you, and which part of your body feels the stiffest today? Tell me in the comments below, and let's get you moving again. This hidden problem is something scientists call facial adhesion, but you can think of it as bioglue. On the surface, it seems totally harmless. It starts as a little tightness in your back when you get out of bed or a slight ache in your hips after sitting for lunch. Most of us just rub our sore spots, take an aspirin, and move on with our day. We think it's just a sign that we've lived a long, full life. But deep inside your body, something much more serious is happening. Your joints are wrapped in a thin, silvery sleeve called fascia. When you are young, this tissue is slippery and wet, like a piece of silk sliding over your muscles. But as we cross 40 and 50, our bodies change how they hold on to water. If you aren't moving in a specific way, that silk begins to dry out. It turns from a slippery lubricant into a sticky, thick paste. This is the bioglue that is actually locking your joints in place. It isn't that your bones are crumbling. It's that your internal sleeves have become so tight, they are squeezing your joints like a giant pair of pliers. Seniors are especially vulnerable because our thirst signals weaken as we age, and our connective tissue naturally loses its bounce. A recent study showed that a huge number of people diagnosed with permanent joint damage actually just had severely dehydrated fascia. When this tissue stays stuck for too long, it doesn't just hurt, it changes your life. You stop playing with your dog on the floor because you're afraid you won't be able to get back up. You stop traveling because the thought of sitting in an airplane seat feels like torture. This glue doesn't just steal your mobility, it steals your independence, making your world smaller and smaller every single day. The reason this bioglue is so dangerous is that it's incredibly quiet. It doesn't scream for attention with a sharp break or a sudden tear. Instead, it whispers. It starts with those tiny, annoying symptoms we all deal with. Maybe you find yourself making a little grunting sound when you get up from the sofa. Or perhaps you've noticed that you have to park closer to the store entrance because your ankles feel stiff for the first few minutes of walking. Most of us dismiss these signs as senior moments or a part of getting older. We tell ourselves that everyone our age feels this way. Even doctors often overlook it. When you go for a checkup and mention a dull ache, they usually just check your bones or your blood pressure. If the X-ray doesn't show a major break, they might just tell you to take it easy or hand you a bottle of pills. They are looking at the hardware of your body, but they are completely missing the software, the sticky tissue that is actually causing the trouble. This damage piles up slowly, layer by layer, like dust settling in a room. By the time you really feel the pain, the glue has been hardening for years. Think about a woman named Brenda. Brenda was 65 and loved gardening, but she started noticing she couldn't turn her neck quite as far to check her blind spot while driving. She ignored it for months, thinking she was just tired. Then, one day, she reached down to pull a simple weed and her entire back locked up. She ended up stuck on the ground for an hour because she had ignored those tiny whispers of stiffness. Brenda didn't have a bad back. She had a body that had been slowly tightening up until it finally snapped. This is why we can't afford to wait for the pain to get bad enough to take action. To really understand how to fix this, we need to look at how your body actually works on the inside. Think of your body like a house with a very complex plumbing and electrical system. Your joints are like the faucets and hinges, but they rely on a series of pumps and pipes to stay smooth. In a young person, the pumps are working perfectly, sending fresh fluid into your joints every time you move. This fluid is like high-quality oil that keeps everything sliding without any friction. But as the years go by, the equation changes. Aging makes our internal pipes a little more narrow and less flexible. If you don't move the right way, the pressure system in your body starts to drop. Imagine a garden hose that has been sitting out in the sun. It gets stiff and hard to bend. That is exactly what happens to your connective tissue. When the pressure drops, the oil stops reaching the hinges of your knees, hips, and back. This creates a dangerous chain reaction. Because the fluid isn't moving, your body's electrical wiring, your nerves, start sending out false alarms. It senses the dryness and the friction, and it tells your muscles to tighten up to protect the joint. But this tightening only makes the problem worse. It's like trying to force a rusty gate open when the hinges are stuck. The more you pull, the more damage you do to the metal. In your body, this constant pulling creates inflammation, which acts like a thick, gritty sand inside your joints. This isn't just about getting older. It's about a system that has lost its ability to pump and lubricate itself. Once you learn how to restart those pumps and clear out the rust, your joints can start to feel loose and quiet again, no matter what the calendar says. If you ignore these rusty hinges for too long, the problem moves into a much more dangerous phase. This is where the simple stiffness turns into something called compensation syndrome. This happens when one part of your body is so locked up that it forces your other joints to do work they weren't designed for. If your right hip is stuck like a door with a broken hinge, your left knee has to take twice the weight. It's like driving a car with a flat tire. Eventually, the axle is going to snap. The stakes are higher than you might think. A major medical study recently found that people over the age of 50 with stiff, glued joints are 4 times more likely to suffer a serious fall within the next 5 years. This isn't just about a sore back anymore. It's about your safety. When your joints can't move quickly, you can't catch your balance if you trip on a rug or a curb. The worst-case outcome isn't just pain. It's losing your ability to live at home or take care of yourself. What's truly scary is the difference between feeling okay and the actual damage happening inside. You might think you feel healthy because you aren't in constant agony, but hidden damage is like a termite eating the wood in a house. You don't see the hole until the floor collapses. By the time most people realize their mobility is gone, the bio-glue has hardened into a thick, leather-like wall around their nerves. I don't say this to scare you, but to warn you. Your body is incredibly good at hiding its problems until it's almost too late. If you wait until you can't walk to the kitchen without help, the road back is much harder. We have to address this hidden damage now, while you still have the power to turn the pumps back on and reclaim your freedom. Most people think that when their joints feel stiff or sore, the best thing to do is sit down and rest. It sounds like common sense, doesn't it? If a part of your body hurts, you should stop using it to let it heal. But when it comes to the bio-glue we've been talking about, this belief is actually dead wrong. In fact, total rest is often the worst thing you can do for your mobility. When you stay still for too long, that sticky tissue around your muscles doesn't get a break. It sets like concrete. Think of your body like a wet paintbrush. If you keep using the brush, the bristles stay soft and flexible. But if you set it down and leave it alone, the paint dries and the bristles become a hard, useless block. This creates a compounding effect that ruins your joints. You rest because you're stiff, but that rest makes the glue even thicker, which makes you even stiffer the next time you try to move. It's a downward spiral that leads straight to the compensation syndrome we just discussed. The overlooked pattern I see every day is what I call the chair trap. We spend hours sitting in the same position, watching TV, reading, or driving, and our fascia literally molds to the shape of the chair. Your body thinks you want to stay in that seated position forever, so it weaves more glue to hold you there. The practical correction isn't to go run a marathon or spend hours at the gym. Intense exercise can actually cause more inflammation if your joints are already stuck. Instead, the secret is a specific type of lubrication movement. You don't need strength, you need flow. You need a way to tell your brain to send water back into those dry, leather-like tissues. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how to break out of the chair trap using a method that doesn't feel like exercise at all, but works better than any pill you can find in a cabinet. Now that you know why your joints feel stuck, I want to give you the key to unlock them. This is the spiderweb protocol. It is a simple, 2-minute routine that is designed to melt that bioglue and restart your body's internal pumps. You don't need any fancy equipment, you don't need to join a gym, and you certainly don't need to spend a dime. The first step is what I call the wall lean. Stand about a foot away from a wall and place your hands flat against it. Gently lean forward, keeping your heels on the floor. This simple move stretches the long line of tissue that runs from your heels to your hips. We do this first because the glue in your ankles is often what pulls on your lower back. By loosening the bottom of the web, the rest of your body can finally relax. Next, we move to the gentle twist. While still standing, let your arms hang loose like wet noodles. Slowly rotate your shoulders from side to side, letting your arms swing and gently tap your hips. This isn't about power. It's about creating a rhythmic wave through your spine. This movement acts like a pump, forcing fresh, lubricating fluid into the dry discs of your back. It's like turning on the faucet for a sink that hasn't been used in years. Finally, we finish with the sky reach. Reach one arm up toward the ceiling as if you are picking an apple, while letting the opposite heel slightly lift. This pulls the fascia away from your ribcage and opens up the space around your lungs and heart. The reason this works so well is that it targets the whole web of your body at once, rather than just one sore spot. These moves are so simple that most people overlook them, but they are the secret to staying mobile. Because these stretches are gentle and free, nobody in the big medical offices talks about them. But if you do this for just 120 seconds every morning, you are giving your joints the oil they need to glide smoothly all day long. This is how you take control of your health right in your own living room. Remember Arthur, the man who was told he needed surgery and would never hike again? He didn't end up on an operating table. Instead, he started doing these exact movements every single morning. Within just a few weeks, the bioglue began to melt away. The grind in his knees softened, and his back felt light again. Arthur realized that he wasn't broken, he was just stuck. Today, he is back on the trails with his grandkids, walking without a cane and living proof that your age does not have to be your cage. The biggest lesson Arthur learned is one we all need to remember. Small habits become much more important as we get older. When you are 20, your body can handle being still. But after 40, 50, or 70, the way your body holds onto water and moves its oil changes completely. If you don't help your body, it can't help you. But as you've seen today, the fix is simpler than you were ever led to believe. Your body has carried you through every beautiful and difficult moment of your life so far. It has worked hard for you for decades. My goal today isn't to make you afraid of aging, but to give you the awareness to take care of the incredible gift you have. You deserve to move without pain, and you deserve to stay independent for as long as possible. I want you to take one small action right now. Tomorrow morning, before you even have your first cup of coffee, try this spiderweb stretches I showed you. Just 2 minutes. Also, keep a glass of water right next to your bed tonight. Drinking a full glass as soon as you wake up is the best way to start hydrating that fascia from the inside out. If you found this helpful, please leave a comment and share your own story. I read as many as I can. Share this video with a friend or a loved one who thinks their joint pain is just old age. Let's help them find their freedom again, too. And finally, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a simple, drug-free way to stay young and mobile. Your best years are still ahead of you.